Welcome to another episode of Jamming with Jason. Hey, today I am so excited because I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide world on with me, Joan Marie. She is, you'll see as you listen to this, the energy and the joy that she just brings to the world. But we're also going to talk a little bit about some of her story because I think sometimes, we see people that are always seem happy, always seem upbeat, but realize that, everybody has our ups and down days as well. And so I'm really excited to get in and share more with Joan Marie. So with that, let's roll that episode. All right, Joan Marie. There's going to be a lot of giggling and laughing on this, I'm sure. So and so for people that are just listening audio, you might hear a little bit of it, but if you watch on YouTube and see the video, you'll see what I mean. She's always got a smile on her face. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, I'm excited. This is cool.
Cool, right? It's like we're hanging out together in the ethospheres, right? Not that we don't do that already anyway.
Yeah.
Now I know it's, we can just get into talk, but I mean, you have an amazing story, is from my perspective, right?
Thank you.
Again, we all live our life. We think we just do what we do, right? But you are one of those people that is an inspiration to me in what you're doing. So I know, again, for the people that are watching the video, they can see the picture of the eagle on the back because you're an artist. So maybe just tell people just a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to kind of jump in and let's just talk about your story and some of the things that you've experienced in life.
Who am I?
Oh, I hate it when people ask me that question. So why do I ask people that question?
Well, it's gotten easier because I'm living my purpose now, so when I study my values, and I've always known that spirituality was my number one value. So who I am, I have now labeled, I'm a visionary artist. And a visionary artist is someone the art comes from their soul, from their feelings, from their heart, so it's experiencing life through feelings. And so I've just tapped into an even deeper deeper experience with that. And people who know my story, when I was 19, I saw Michelangelo's Sistine ceiling, and I'm in Italy, and I just swooned and I just lost it. It was just like an out of body experience. The spiritual energy just filled my soul. And then I saw Leonardo da Vinci's Adoration of the Magi at the Uffizi Gallery, and I just sat there for 2 hours. And the energy, between these two, oh my gosh, the energy, that's who I am. I mean, that is the moment that I realized I'm an artist, and that is my purpose. And I said, if art is that powerful, I have to be a part of it. And I really didn't think I was going to be an artist up until then. But when I experienced and my soul was filled with that energy, I mean, I was hyper after that. And that is because I had a purpose. Like before that, I was fine, and I was, lived life normal. And I guess I was fairly energetic, but I was hyper after that because it just like woke up. That's me, so who am I? That's what woke me up. We all have, I get these moments that just, you're so happy and you're so lit up by it. And that was my huge moment. I mean, that pounding energy of passion and excitement throughout my life. I mean, I remember so many times I'm driving and I could feel my heart pounding with excitement. And it was the spiritual energy just wanting to express itself, and so I just kept going through phase after phase after phase and fighting insecurity and and all this stuff, so that's who I am, is a spiritual artist. And that's who I am.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say that because there's so many people and people that we know and groups that we're in together as well, where people will kick around and they're like, I don't know what my purpose is. I need my purpose. I want to know what that is, right? So it looks like, when you were 19, you had this flash that just, lit you up. You felt the passion. You knew that you were an artist, or that that was part of your purpose here on this world, right? But then, we tend to grow up, we adult, we have to, we get married, we have kids, we have to have a job, right? And it seems like a lot of times people kind of lose that, right? So from 19, what kind of happened there? I mean, did you fall into that same trap that we all kind of do, or was this always burning in you your whole life?
It was always burning in me, but the reason at 19 I didn't think I was going to be a full-time artist is because I felt my art was average, and the professors insulted me terribly, and I won't go into those stories at the after I was 19 and I got serious, and so I had this because I was already insecure about not knowing who I was, and I wasn't good at anything really, and all that stuff that from life before you get this. We're all insecure. I mean, it really is. But when the professors insulted me so terribly and told me I shouldn't be an artist because I'm not creative, I was just like, I took it on, and so I left college immediately to be an art teacher, figuring, okay, if I'm not creative, then I asked the professor, well, can you learn creativity? And he said, no, I'm sorry, you have to be born with it.
Ouch. Right.
In other words, sorry, you weren't born with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, so after a few tears that he didn't see, like then I became driven with, he's not going to stop me. I will prove that, because I felt it inside, that we have all these blocks, this insecurity, life, stuff that happened in our childhood, whatever blocks us from who we are. And that's what I experienced more and more, is like when something else lit me up, and the person on the stage lit me up with something, or an artwork would light me up, I would analyze, what it is, because that's a reflection of me out there. That, if you're so excited about something, what is it about that actor? What is it about that art? Because that's a piece of you being expressed that's been buried. And the reason you have such, like you're so drawn to it is because it's like, oh, that's me. Oh my gosh, I want, that's me. Like, why can't I be like that? Why can't I feel like that? Why can't, so then you work towards that goal. And that was my constant goal, it's like just experiencing these different parts of me out there, and striving to let it out. And so I would just do everything. I mean, I practiced art every day of my life, even all the 28 years I taught high school art, and I did art all the time, searching and experiencing and expressing, and just trying to find all of me, like, and just, but always self-discovery. Like one of the things I had the students do as an exercise was, when you're in your bedroom, look around, like, what is it in your bedroom that just lights you up? And then why? Write about it. When you walk down the hall, what do you notice? Do you look at the ground? Do you notice people's eyes? Do you avoid people? Who are you? Like, so the more you understand who you are, the more you understand what matters to you. And so, like, through the years, but I have to say, I was sidetracked, as I'm always doing my art. I was sidetracked with, I want to be a full-time artist, so maybe this style will make money. Maybe this style will make money. Maybe that style will make, so I did get sidetracked. And that's one thing I tell artists, just do your art. That's why I went back to teaching, is to not have the pressure of financial, on my art. But I couldn't help it. I wanted to be full-time artist. And so I just kept being lured to what will sell. I mean, even my loving father, I'd say, how do you like this piece? And he said, well, do you think it'll sell? I'm like, that isn't the question. What do so anyway, I had to really work to get that. I was thinking about that even just before I, got involved with TCP and Jim Fortin, and I discovered myself. I was doing a line of commercial art, for licensing kitty cats, unicorns. I mean, I love doing these things, but I really did think it was, maybe that's my niche, and maybe that is my niche to make money. It was always that little part of me there, that was like, that's the key. So it's a huge thing to get over that. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. And I want to dig in a little bit more, because you brought up 2 points from that I think are important lessons for everybody to learn, right? Is that, you have these flashes, but then, again, in this world, we're taught, well, you got to make money, right? It's like, don't quit your day job, go on, and you got to do something to make money, right? That just tends to be kind of what we're pushed into. And a lot of the times the things that we're doing to make money aren't what light us up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, especially for someone like an artist, where your energy, your soul kind of comes through the art, whatever art somebody creates, right? It has to be something that lights you up, or else you're probably not going to make money at it either, right? And this whole idea of, well, what can I do to make money? What can I do to make money? What can I do to make money? Right? You were asking yourself that for a long time. But I know kind of your backstory too. And it's like, when you gave up, what can I do to make money? You started making money, and it started coming in, right? So maybe talk us a little bit through that, because I know that's a holdup that a lot of us have. I still have that a lot of the times too, right? Where it's like, well, but what can I put out there that people are going to want to buy, right? And instead of just putting out there what I want to put out there, and then let the people who need it, who want it, actually pay for it.
Well, I should have learned after, this business, art business, and that art business, and that art business, and that art business that I was always doing on the side most of the time, and they failed. I should have learned not to do that. And some of the time, of course, I wasn't, because I was teaching most of the time during all that. But oh gosh, what was the main point? Oh, but what woke me up was in Jim Fortin's class when we worked on identity. Like, who am I? Like, what? And then he asked, where do you want your art to hang? Like, and the unicorns and kitty cats I was doing, I said, well, I'd like it to be on the fireplace or in the main room where people live, and enjoy, like their main room. And he's like, I don't think your unicorns would be hanging there, and I was like, and so what gallery do I want to be in? Where do I want my art to be? And so it just shifted in my mind. It's like, wait a minute, why am I doing this other thing, even though I do enjoy it? Or I was making, I was just kind of, maybe I was making excuses, because it was fun, to do Comic Con and wear costumes and, so have all that.
You do like to wear costumes. I love your costumes.
Yeah. I mean, all that was great fun, so that is a part of me. So it is a part of me, but we have many layers, and that wasn't the deepest layer of me, and I'm glad I experienced it and expressed it and did it, because it is a part of me. But that deeper self that needed that satisfying, because after business failed, I remembered one time, I think I was, I don't know, 65 then, I cried so hard. I was like, I can't try any harder. I can't try any harder. Well, that's the key. I was trying too hard, right? And I wasn't stopping long enough to ask those questions. What is my identity? What's my value? What's my highest purpose? What's my highest value? So identity and value, and, where do you see the energy? Where do you see what you do? Where do you see it being? What's your ideal, biggest, grandest picture of where you want to be? With whatever you do, get there, stop and get in that image and feel that, and then believe that that's where you belong. Because if you could create that image, that is who you are, and that's what you need to go for. So that's when I dropped that old and moved
started
on.
with the new. Well, and I know sometimes, when we have those visions of where we want to be, right? I don't know if you fell into this trap at all too, but I love that story that you had with Jim, right? Like, where do you want your art hanging? What kind of galleries do you want it to be in, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when people go through that sort of exercise and they look at what we really value, what our identity, where or who or what we would like to be, sometimes it kind of scares us, right? Like, oh my gosh, I could never be in that kind of an art gallery, right?
Right.
And then a lot of times, the feeling of, unworthiness, self-loathing, the other things start to kick in, like who am I, to charge that kind of money for whatever it is, or who am I, right, to have my art hanging on the wall right next to some other things, right? I mean, is that something that you experienced or went through, or totally? Okay. I'm like, don't tell me I'm the only one that feels
Oh,
that way, right?
that is exactly why it took so long. That's why it took so long. I never could believe that I really was that person, like, I mean, here I am living in Sedona in 1986 and all the way for 2.5 years. And I saw my ideal art gallery there, it was called the Visionary Art Gallery. And I belonged there. How would I ever be in there? And that's been how long ago. And so yeah, exactly what you said. I just didn't really believe. So I had to go through all this stuff to finally I just lost me. Uh-oh.
You still there? Yeah.
I had to go through all this stuff to finally let go of saying, well, where else do I turn but to finally believe in myself? At this age, my gosh, I mean, what was I, I think I was 69 when I realized that the gym woke me up, so I'm 71 now, so I've been doing it for 2 years, and it feels like why it just feels like heaven. I don't think any more than that. I was about to say, why didn't I do it before? I didn't do it before, whatever, like you can't, it is what it is,
Well, and it's that. So what I'm gathering too, right, is during your life, you had these different flashes that kind of came through, right, of kind of where you wanted to be, what you wanted to do. A lot of that time it's thinking, who am I can't do that. What am I going to do for money? Other people around you probably telling you that, like your dad, right? Well, I don't know, will it sell? Right. Why don't you get a real job? I've heard that one before. But it was a journey, and I think that's important for people to remember, that no matter where we're at, right, we're making progress, and eventually it all comes together. I mean, for you it took 50 years. Right, but that's okay, because you're exactly where you need to be now, and you were exactly where you needed to be back then too.
Yeah, because even all along, even though I always kind of felt that I wasn't doing all I could do, I was still always doing my art every day. I mean, very few days did I not do my art. So I was still, like my other art teachers would say, how do you have the energy to create art at night after teaching? And I'm like, how can I not do art after teaching? I mean, how could I keep, anyway, I just never, so I was always happy because I kept doing my passion. I kept fitting it into my life as I raised my daughter. She knew how to, she knew mommy needed to do her art. I would hold her when she was little and do my art while I was holding her. And then she would play as she got older. I mean, she was just used to mommy needs to do her art, and she even said one time, mommy, you're not so happy. She said, you need to do your art. She was like 7, and I had stopped for about a week to do other things I thought was more important. And, and I said, you are so wise. You wise 7-year-old, right? Seeing that, so she was very accommodating, knowing, so because I always did what I love, even though it wasn't the grandest level of me, they say competence is confidence. Mm-hmm. So because I was fighting, it's like that, what do they say, that dark angel and light angel, that you're no good, you're great, like I had Michelangelo and Da Vinci in me. I knew I was connected to them. And then I had this voice, you're so, you're just so mediocre, and you're not really, whatever. And I mean, this battle in my head, like, no wonder, right? So until I got rid of that to one side, and that just took time, what can I say? And it took a lot of art, to get to the place where I was like, damn, look what I'm doing. That's pretty good. Like I can finally say, I'm good. It was really hard to ever say that, so
Well, yeah, especially since you've had people throughout your life telling you that you weren't,
yeah.
right? A lot of times it's hard for us to finally admit and go
Mhm.
with it or look with it. But I think it's important too, I mean, you've shown even in those 50 years, right? You were constantly doing something, you were fitting your art into your day every day, right? So you're doing something that lights you up every day, which I think, again, a lot of times we don't do that, right? We
Yeah.
we don't take the 10, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, but doing something every single day that actually lights us up helps us get through the rest of it.
Yes. Yes. And one little note, when people would compliment me, like in Sedona, I got lots of compliments about my art, back in 86. And even I couldn't accept the compliments. I could accept, but I had Michelangelo in me. I wanted to be Michelangelo da Vinci. I wanted to be them, it's like at some level, I wanted to be them. So when they'd say, "Oh, your art's really good," I was like, "Thanks." you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, but nobody came up to you and said, Joan, you're like the next
Yeah,
Michelangelo. Then you would have been
exactly.
like, yeah.
Yeah, but see, I didn't see it. I didn't feel it, so I just kept working. I just kept working, because and then I was like, well, I am good at this level, so let's just go with this level, and I just kept working and kept working.
Well, and you mentioned something earlier on when we first started talking too about kind of seeing yourself in the art as well, right? And this is one of the things too that as I've gotten older and hopefully a little bit wiser too, is there's certain pieces that just speak to people, right? And sometimes there are certain things that are created by an artist that they don't know who it was created for or why it was created for, right? Like I've got two different bracelets actually that I wear that are pieces of art, both actually Navajo Indian
Hmm.
made, but there was a connection that I had the minute that I saw those pieces, right? And it's like the person didn't realize it, but they were making that for me,
Mhm.
right? And so when I saw it, I knew I had to have it.
Mhm.
And I, you can see that sometimes in art, and I'm sure that you've experienced that with people too, where it's like, sometimes you create something, maybe you don't even think it's that great, right? And so you're discounting yourself a little bit, but somebody else sees it and it just speaks to their heart and soul, and it was intended for them. And it was beautiful and perfect for them, even though we might be kind of discounting it or thinking, oh, it's not really that great, but it's perfect for that person.
That's great. Yes.
So it's kind of interesting, and again, kind of that whole big cycle of life of how we are all connected, um, as well. So that makes me look at art a little bit different as well too now. So
Well, I mean, I look at the art, back from 86 when people in Sedona were complimenting and I could accept it, but I wasn't feeling I look at it now, I'm like, I see that, I feel it. It's really, in its own whatever where I was at, it really is speaking. So, I'm looking at it in a new lens now where I've eliminated that negative, that negative vision, and it's all amazing how we mess things up, like in our heads with the putting ourselves down all the time. I mean, those of us who do that, which I think is a lot
it's
of us.
probably everybody
Yeah.
listening here too, right?
Yeah, yeah. Pretty common.
Well, and I wanted to go too. I mean, we kind of alluded a little bit at the beginning, but you're one of those people that I always see smiling, laughing. You do wear the costumes, usually bright colors. I mean, you make me smile every time I see a picture of you on Facebook, or see you on video or watch one of your videos or anything too. But it's what's interesting, and again, as I'm getting older, my dad's going to be 90 this, beginning of this next year, that one of the things that happens is we all end up aging, right? And we go through some different experiences in our life, some of the things that we'd prefer not to go through. But so I wanted to see, kind of talk a little bit about that, because again, I mean, I know a little bit of your backstory, but I was surprised at some of the stuff that you've gone through, the last year or so, that nobody actually knew you were going through, right? And so let's maybe kind of talk a little bit about that, because we all have different challenges in our life at different times. Sometimes it's health, sometimes it's physical health, sometimes it's mental health, some whatever, but that we all end up kind of going through those. And to me, you're just like a rock star on how you've kind of warriored through what you've been dealing with as well. The big smile and the pregnant pause. I told you we were probably going here, right? So it shouldn't be a surprise.
So you're referring to leukemia.
Yeah, that thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, my doctor discovered it. And I mean, honestly, when I was first told, and they sent me to the oncologist, and they're like, yeah, you got it. It's like, and it was so funny. The oncologist goes, well, I know sometimes it's very intimidating or frightening, or I forget what words he said, scary or something, to enter into the cancer unit. And I said, I'm in the cancer unit.
You're entering the cancer zone. It's like
I just looked at the numbers on the doors, and I followed the number I was supposed to go to, and I didn't read, the big signs. And honestly, I didn't really understand he was an oncologist, and that's what that meant. I don't know. I'm so disconnected to that stuff. And so when I was first told, to me, it was almost like a joke. And I told my brother and my sister, and I'm kind of laughing, and they were like, Joan, you have leukemia. And I was like, yeah, but it's okay. It's, it'll just go away. Like, it's not a big deal. And I really had that la attitude, because, I felt fine. And so for months, and then I talked to Jake, and Jake was like, your body heals itself. And and then I started seeing my numbers get bad. And so I was like, yeah, I knew that my body's going to heal itself. So then I go to the oncologist, my numbers get worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, what? I'm in this great zone, and I feel fine, and I'm happy, and I am positive, and this is supposed to be curing me, and it got worse and worse and worse. And the oncologist goes, people with your numbers, he said, you need to start chemo pills or these certain pills, and I was like, no, and he goes, well, people with your numbers usually can't even get up out of bed in the morning. And I said, but I feel fine. Like, I'm, so why do I feel fine? And he said, I don't know why you feel fine. And I was like, but at the same time, okay, I was feeling okay. I was losing energy, I mean, but it wasn't like I couldn't get out of bed, and I was feeling fine. And you just keep moving with your life and keep the same spirit and everything. But I had to face the facts that the numbers were getting worse. And so then and I feel life always happens for a reason, to wake you up to certain things. So I started looking into this and that and this and that, how do I heal? How do I heal? And then I started trying too hard to heal. And I was trying too hard to not take the medicine. And then the numbers kept getting worse. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to learn how to stop trying so hard, and to not care if I had to take the medicine or not. Go with the flow. Like, I didn't want to take this medicine for the rest of my life. I just had it in my head, well, if I do have to take it, I'll just stop in a few months. I'll heal myself to, in a few months, I'll just take it if I have to, whatever. But I lightened up and let all that go, because, we try so hard, which is what I did most of my life with my art. I was
going to say there's a link in there, isn't there?
I know. And it's like trying and trying and trying and trying until you just break down, right? And so that was a huge lesson, to just lighten up and let go and stop questioning and the minute I let go and lightened up and accepted that I had to take the medicine or not, like it didn't matter. And I did all kinds of things. I did Joe Dispenza's meditations and I went to his workshop and, I did a lot of things and the diet and exercise and the tons of supplements and I was doing lots of things, but the attitude, the energy, like when I was taking it in the beginning, I was like, oh, these supplements, but I'm doing it. There's a different energy in just like, bless these supplements, bless everything that's going on, lighten up. It's all good. It's all good. Truly, it's all good. Feel your energy, feel it, check in. And doesn't matter what happens tomorrow, just lighten up now and just do what you believe and feel. Like when they put me on a special diet, I was like, I'm so picky about food already, and I'm a sugaraholic, and of course I can't have sugar, and I lost all kinds of weight, not even trying, because I got that. But anyway, I learned how to be okay with what I figured out to eat, like just not resist and get all these attitudes. It's energy. Like, they gave me this list of what I should be eating. Well, I only like 5 of those things. Well, then just eat those 5 things. Don't beat yourself up that you won't eat those other 10 things, whatever, just lighten up, do what you can do and do what feels right. Because, how many stories have we heard of people who tried diet after diet and thing after thing after thing, and nothing works anyway, so if your energy is not in the right place, nothing's going to work anyway. So energy. So I just learned, and I don't mean the Energizer Bunny energy, because I'm good at that.
But some of that probably does play into it a little bit too, right? Because of the frequency of the energy of feeling happy, being joyful is much different than sitting in sorrow or sitting in depression. Right.
Yeah. And I never got there. I never feared death, because ever since John Lennon died when I was 30.
I know, he's one of my favorites too.
Oh my gosh, it changed my life. I was like, that's when I started looking at my life with, well, if I died tomorrow, am I doing what I love? So I started looking at my life like that ever since I was 30 when he died, so, and in 1980. And so, I've been doing that all my life. So I stopped, and said, well, am I doing what I love right now? Is there anything I'm missing that that I really want to do? Like if I did die tomorrow, and I wasn't afraid of dying with this, but we could die walking out the front door for some reason, it's not like, so I've always done that, stop and analyze my life, like if I had 2 weeks to live, what would you do if you were perfectly healthy? I love that question because it really puts your life in perspective. If you had 2 weeks to live and you had plenty of money to do whatever it is you want, what would you do? And I've asked that question to myself for years. And so I'm ready with that, like I'm enjoying my days. And, and I just lightened up. So, and then my numbers got better. Like the last time I went to the oncologist, the doctor was like, you don't really need to take the medicine. He said, what are you doing? What are you doing? I have 2 oncologists, one that believes in the supplements and the other one's the strict oncologist. And he's like, what are you doing to heal yourself? And I said, attitude. I don't know. Energy. And he just kind of looks at me with a smile like, okay. But there you go.
Well, it's interesting. And it's interesting that there's the correlation, right, with trying versus just kind of allowing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, huge difference, right? I mean, you for 50 years, right, you were trying to do art to make money, right? And when you stop trying to do art for money, all of a sudden things opened up for you, right? When you stop trying to heal and to get better, all of a sudden you healed, right? So it's almost like we just all need to quit trying so hard, right? It's like, just let things happen. In a lot of ways. And I love that you brought up the 2 weeks left to live. I didn't realize you've been doing that most of your life, but that's fabulous, right? Because again, I mean, how much different will all of our lives be different if we did only have 2 weeks left to live?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Would we say that nasty thing to the person?
Yeah.
Right? Would we continue to hold a grudge? Would we stay in the same job? Would we live where we live? Would we, it's like, if we only had 2 weeks left to live, it really changes your perspective a lot.
Yeah, because the other huge thing, eliminating the stress out of my life. I mean, as much as I thought I was doing that because I'm doing what I love and everything, there were certain things that were causing stress, and little things that become bigger in your mind, and I didn't realize how big I was making these little things in my everyday life cause stress. And when I finally really shifted to true unconditional love, not just say the word, because I had a lot of practice as a teacher, to learn unconditional love. When I first had many experiences with very challenging students, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing teaching school?
Having a couple teachers in our family, I know exactly what you're talking
but
about.
then I shifted to realizing that spirituality is my number one value. So learn to love every student, and learn to have compassion for where they're coming from. Who knows what they're bringing into the classroom from where they came. And to look at every human being in every moment, yourself included, and so that was the other huge thing when I really stopped and did the work to analyze what was stressing me out when I thought I was like so happy. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this, what's causing stress, like unconditional. I need to, I felt like I got better and better about loving myself after finally doing the art of my dreams. And so not hating myself, but down on myself all the time was finally released. But then, you start judging, like, I don't know, like it's, anyway, just making a true, honest list of what's stressing you out and learn a new way to perceive it. And my way is like your humor. You had a podcast about humor. It was so fun, because that's the answer to everything. It's like George and I just, we still kind of do like talk Southern talk, or some
How y'all doing there, Joan Marie?
like little kids to each other, like little children, hi, whatever. I can't even do it when I'm not with him. It's so funny. Like, you can get into character, it happens natural, but when I try to repeat, like, I can't remember. But like, when something bothers me, the minute I shift to like make a joke out of, not a joke, but just shift to a fun way to see it. Like, why would you be upset about such a thing? Like, and it just turn it into something fun. And I'm doing this all the time now, and it just feels so light, and it's huge.
Well, it makes a huge difference for you, but also probably for the other people as well, right? I mean, because so it could be as simple as like, let's say that for some reason I get mad at you. I can't imagine me ever being mad at you, but to where I want to like just yell and scream. Instead, I'd be like, oh, Joan Marie, you made me so angry. I am so angry right now at you. Right? That's kind of what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Is that even just changing your tone of voice?
Exactly.
You might even be saying the same words that you would say, but you're saying it in a different voice, and it just gets you to laugh. It gets you to lighten up.
Yeah.
Instead of taking everything so serious and bringing that stress in as well.
Yeah, because when you know that stress is feeding your illness, or whatever, I don't even like to say that, but it's feeding it could do nothing but harm to your body. And all you need, and all we have to have health, to really be not, but I mean, it's just nice to really be vibrantly healthy. So we know stress is just such a killer of so many things. So lighten up, is any of this really worth it? Like there's ways of shifting with everything. So it's really fun. Yay.
I love that idea. Now I'm going to start using more voices
Yeah.
as well.
That was a good one you did too. That was
Was that a
good
good one?
That was a very good one.
Joan Marie, I'm so angry at you right now.
Well, and it just makes you start laughing, right? Because
Yeah.
again, I mean, that was the laughter podcast that you were referring to. I mean, sometimes that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
We just got to laugh about it. So just find some way to start laughing about it, or even just start fake laughing, and fake laughing turns into real laughing at the end of the day.
Yeah, it really does. I used to laugh when you talk to a dog, and the dog is like, it did something bad, and you're like, oh, oh, I wish you wouldn't do that anymore. Or, I love you so much. Why do you do that? Like the dog doesn't know what you're saying. They feel the energy, like it's energy, like it doesn't matter. I love you. And they're like going like this, but energy. So yeah, get into a character.
I love that idea. There's another one to add to my list of things to start doing.
It's fun.
Well, no, this has been great. I appreciate you, taking time. Are there other things that you'd like to share as well? Because like I said, I know as you and I were just kind of messaging back and forth, I wanted to make sure and bring up, because I was impressed with how you've gone through. It's like, especially when people tend to get physically sick, right? It's like there's two paths, and it seems like the majority of people get into that stress and sorrow and sitting in it, right? And that just ends up having them spiral down. And there's few people that have done it like you, where it's like you stay upbeat, you stay positive, you quit trying, you just allow, you let it happen, you use funny voices, you do whatever it takes. And it's those people that end up healing, both physically, but also emotionally and spiritually as well, that we don't think about. It's like when somebody's depressed, they tend to stay depressed because they stay in that energy of depression, right? Instead of moving out. And it's such a breath of fresh air, because I remember, early on in my career, there was one of the ladies, she was one of our receptionists at my office, who was going through cancer. And same thing, I mean, we knew what was going on, but most every day, Gloria had a smile on her face. I mean, you could tell the days that were really tough for her because she wasn't quite as chipper, but she was always right there trying to make everybody else feel better, and lighting everybody else up. And it's like, it's just, I wanted to help share your story, because there's so many people that go down the other path. And it's like, we need more people to react the way that you did, right? And actually, take it as it is, regardless of what it is. We talked about art, we talked about other stuff too. And it's like, quit trying, quit stressing yourself out, just lighten up. And remember, it's energy, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And live in the moment, because there is no guarantee that this will heal me permanently. I believe it will, and I stay in that belief, but I'm not attached to that. Let go of the attachment of the future. It's like, have a belief, but let go. It's not about that. It's not about then. It's about now. What's that song about? Oh, that takes me to a song, but it has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
That's all right. We can do any song you want, right?
I can't think of it, but it's about time. Anyway, but living in the now, is that, because I mean, every once in a while I catch my mind, going to, different challenges I'm having here, and with my mind will a little bit go to what if in the future, near future or future, what if, and like, oh, how will I handle it? Like, why am I concerned? Who knows what tomorrow brings? We can't control it. We can believe and enjoy thinking about it, dreaming about it, and being in that energy, which I believe that you need to stay in that energy of believing and living that dream. But there's no guarantee. So like, just let it go and live in the now, because, this is it, right now. I mean, we've heard this a million times, but it's so true. I love to listen to my thoughts, and I'm really, truly not going to the future where I was for that period of time. I was like, no medicine. What if, like, I don't know, putting a lot of pressure on myself, even as an artist, I got to make it. Like, well, what, and people would say, well, you are successful. This is before, like 10 years ago. I said, well, I want to be a success. They said, you are successful. Look at your art. Because there were big pockets of time when I did allow, and my art was totally genuine, many pockets of time, really. But, and people would say, but you are successful. But I was defining success around amount of money, period. Like, it has to be an amount of money to that's real success. And so I couldn't go there. I couldn't get to that place. But success right now in your life, right now, where I am right now, success is just feeling my energy and being happy to be alive, and being grateful and thankful for now, and being loving myself and loving others. All this simple, basic things, right? Love yourself, then you can love others, and then you have compassion for others, and then you live in the now. I mean, it's all such basic stuff, but that's all there is, and we just complicate things so much with other things that don't matter. Money doesn't go with us when we die. So why are we making it so important? I mean, I know we need money to survive and everything, but I got to say, this one time I did this test when I was about 10 years ago. I was stressing about money, and they said, I started imagining myself on the sidewalk, homeless, without arms. Like I was
not even just homeless, but homeless without arms.
Yeah, and you're rolling around, like my legs wouldn't work. And I was rolling around on the sidewalk. I couldn't, so I couldn't be an artist, in other words, right? I mean, I guess I could probably find a way, like artists do without arms. They do things, but I was like, how do I feel? I have no money. I'm not an artist. I was identifying as an artist, and I was identifying with the importance of money. And all of a sudden, I was in this situation. How do you feel? And suddenly I was like, oh, I'm okay. I'm still me. I'm still happy. My soul, my spirit is there. I'll just find a new way of being me. I'll find a new persona, and I'll create a new way of being, and I'll be great. And I mean, that was such a release for me to feel that way, that it's helped, with the financial thing, and especially knowing that money doesn't go with us. So.
Well, yeah, because it's amazing the amount of pressure that we put on ourselves, right? Like you're saying, but when we can finally just kind of let it go, then it comes.
Yeah.
Right. When you let it go,
mm-hmm.
then it comes. Right. It's almost like, there's a bunch of cliches and other stuff, but like, if you love someone, set them free.
Yeah.
Right. Same sort of thing. Right. And if they leave, but they come back. Right. I mean, that's almost kind of what we're doing. Right. Is it's like, we've got to let go, and it's not going anywhere, but we have to let go before it can actually come back to us. And your life has just kind of shown that, over and over and over and over again, that's how it is. And that it's all back to the simple things that you talked about: loving yourself, living in the moment, being happy with who you are, feeling alive, having, feeling into your energy, having that passion, doing the things that are lighting you up, right? That help to stoke the fire. and keep us going as well. That's really important, right? Because even if like you said, for most of your career you were teaching, you weren't a professional artist, but you continued to do that thing that lights you up. And a lot of us, we just kind of give it up, and later on in life we have a nervous breakdown or a midlife crisis or something like that, and then we come back to it and it's like, why can't we just be like Joan and we just keep doing it right, the whole time? Be like Joan. Be like Joan.
But when I was a teacher and I wanted to quit in the beginning, I was like, why am I doing this? This is not my passion. This is not. Then I was like, okay, I have a choice. Quit your job and do what you love, or do what you give your all to what your job, or stay with your job, but give it your all. And develop passion for it, and if you can't, then you in other words, if you stay in a job and be unhappy, like your life just really stays stuck. So I learned, like I said, spirituality is my highest virtue. So, value, so I shifted growth. I knew I was going to grow as a teacher, and there's so many reasons I created around why being a teacher, because it was a decent paying job as a teacher. And so I shifted my attitude towards it, and then loved it until I retired. Like really loved it, jumped out of bed every day, and I because I shifted my attitude towards it, and learned, and because I chose to be there. Because if you continue to battle your job, it really just kind of stifles your life. So, but if I quit my job, which I did for 14 years to be a full-time artist, I was really under pressure then for my art to make money. And I put a lot of pressure on my art, and then it wasn't free to evolve either. So that's why I kind of went back to teaching initially, but then I shifted to love it to where I was happy during the day as well. So, just a little thing in there. It's, we can shift our attitudes.
Yeah. And that's a good thing for us to all remember, because sometimes we're in certain situations in life, and that's just what life happens to be at the time. Right. Mm-hmm. But we can shift our attitude. We can choose. Right. So again, it's like, imagine all the kids that went through Miss Marie's class and love art now. Right. And how many of them, maybe none of them became professional artists, maybe some did, but that gift of art that you gave to them as well. And really, whatever we're doing, we can find some purpose in it as well. Right. Because every life that we touch for good. Right. And so it doesn't matter whether we're teaching art, whether we're selling life insurance, or whatever else it might be that we're doing, flipping burgers, right? We can do it in such a way that it's on purpose. We're having fun. We're in the moment. Our light is, reaching the energy, of the people that are around us as well. And we can still find a lot of purpose in those things that may not be our life's purpose.
Exactly. I'm always thankful for the Taco Bell guy who sells, because my husband loves Taco Bell, and we go there, and the person who serves us Taco Bell, when it's when those people are in a really good state of mind and they joke with you, like, I'm so thankful for them. Like, thank you for being in a good state of mind and being fun, and and I instigate that, but they respond. They're in a good state, and like, not everybody can be like that in a job like that. So it really is attitude. Just being thankful for where you are because you chose to be there. That's the thing. So la la la
la la la la la.
Wish I could twirl here, but I can't twirl in this.
Unplugging yourself.
Whee!
Well, no, I appreciate you taking time. It's a lot of the stuff you said today were things I need to hear too.
Oh,
and good reminders for me as well. And I know everybody who listens to this is going to pick up on the things that they need to hear as well. But yeah, I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, I'm grateful for you. You're fun. You are fun.
I'm fun.
Yes, you are.
Oh, I'm so very fun, and I can make these funny little voices with my.
Yeah, the attraction was instant, especially when you're talking about songs and your connection and, just your spirit and your glasses and
Well, and I
all the
didn't
fun
realize
stuff.
too your attachment to Lennon as well.
Oh,
It actually just fell down, but yeah, Lennon is one of my heroes. I've got a
mm,
lot of stuff for him. Interesting. My mother-in-law actually went to school with him in Liverpool.
wow.
I know he was the bad kid. He was the naughty kid that the girls were
Wow.
supposed to stay away from. But it's
Wow.
just another kind of weird connection because yeah, I've always felt.
Wow.
So how you feel about Michelangelo and Da Vinci? I feel a lot towards John Lennon. Not that I'm a professional musician, I'm a hack, but just some of the stuff and the ways that he tried to help in the world as well.
Hmm. Big
Um,
time.
yeah, and shake people up a little bit and
Hmm.
help them see the world a little bit differently too. So
That's so cool. So
yeah.
cool.
Hmm. Well, thank you, my friend. It's we might have to have you back on again later too, but it was great to talk to you today,
That's
and
great.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Keep being fun.
I'll keep being fun.
Woo!
Woo,
All
woo,
right.
woo, woo.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. See you. Bye.